What's up, legends? Today we are looking at DC's graphic novel Doomsday Clock. And oh my god, how pretty are these covers? They're just bloody gorgeous, aren't they? Okay, so the Doomsday Clock series is broken up into 12 issues, and the last one came out in December 2019. So when I purchased this perhaps a month or 2 months ago, they had collated it into two different parts. So this one here is part 1, and this one here is part 2. Now, I don't want to give any spoilers to anyone who hasn't read the series yet, so I will do my best to keep that under control, but at the same time, I want people who have already read the book to get my thoughts and feelings on it and what I liked and disliked, so hopefully there's something for everyone in this video. Anyway, let's start with a general overview of the story. So basically, Superman kills Dr. Manhattan. I'm only joking. Or am I? Anyway, this book carries on from the events of the first Watchmen, which is arguably the best graphic novel ever made. I would highly recommend reading that, or at least watching the movie, which apparently a lot of people didn't like, but I thought it was f***ing awesome. So at the time of this story, the DC universe and the Watchmen universe are in chaos. A bit similar to what we're in now, but add the potential for nuclear and civil war. Oh wait, that's also us. The point is, Ozymandias needs Dr. Manhattan to help save the world. So Ozymandias and a new Rorschach, and okay, that's not a spoiler because you literally find out about him in the first chapter, travel from the Watchmen universe to the DC universe looking for Dr. Manhattan, who went away to go and do God things. Throughout this journey, they bump into a few well-known DC characters such as our boy Bats, his best mate the Joker, and basically everyone else you can possibly think of. Throughout the entire story, there is an undertone of Dr. Manhattan, the omnipotent blue man god, and his eventual meeting with the also kind of man god, Clark Kent, aka Man of Steel, aka Superman. This is seriously one of the most anticipating build-ups in any book I've ever read, and I literally couldn't put it down because I just wanted to see what would happen when they finally met. Now, without going any further into the story, let me just tell you a few things that made me fall in love with this comic. Firstly, I want to say the reason that I love the Watchmen and Doomsday Clock comics are that they have a hint of reality in them. They aren't like overly romanticized superhero stories, which I do also like, by the way. These comics tackle real life moral dilemmas, and they make you question your own values and beliefs. I love how there are anti-heroes and everyone's doing what they think is the right thing. Characters are complex and messy. They're broken in one sense and then perfect in another. It's a lot like real life. Now, it goes without saying, the artwork is insane. Literally insane. The feeling of this comic is dark and intense, and the frames definitely reflect this feeling of unease. At other times, the panels are just so vibrant and you're literally enthralled in what's going on. Your eyes are almost glued to the page. The facial expressions are on point, and quite frankly, it's just epic. There's also a heap of characters. Now, I love the Watchmen characters, and I still can't decide whether I like Dr. Manhattan or Ozymandias more, but I will say that they're not as fleshed out in this comic. Like I said, this is set after the events of the original Watchmen, so a lot of the character development from the mains kind of happened in that book rather than in these ones. So again, if you haven't, please read or watch the first Watchmen, because it will make reading this one far more enjoyable. Despite this though, what is brilliant about these characters is the way they all come together. Not only is it interesting to see, for example, the two smartest people in their respective universes talking to each other, but it also raises so many questions. After finishing this book, I found myself jumping on Reddit forums, asking questions, trying to figure out who's smarter than who's stronger than who, background stories and histories from different characters. It just is so engaging. You literally feel like you've been pulled into the universe and you just want to find out more. It really is just heaps of fun. I don't really know how else to explain it. I loved watching all these characters interact. It's like the most epic crossover since Endgame, or that time That's So Raven met Hannah Montana and Zack and Cody. Some people criticized the comic saying that the storyline was too convoluted. I personally found it very encapsulating, and I found that the complexity of it made it that much more interesting. And like I said before, I found myself wondering about it and questioning things long after I had read it. And I mean this in a good, memorable way, not in an annoyingly frustrating sense. Another criticism that I read that I do kind of agree with was that a lot of the characters that are initially introduced become kind of obsolete as Dr. Manhattan and Superman take center stage. I definitely think that's fair to say. However, I don't necessarily think it took away too much from the book. Perhaps if you were a really big comic nerd, so to speak, you might have been a bit more frustrated by that. I'm not so much like that, so I found it okay. It didn't bother me that much. Now, as I just mentioned, I'm not a massive comic nerd, although I really do want to be. But because of this, I can't say with precision how Doomsday Clock compares to many other comics. What I can say though is that out of the limited comics that I have read, this was really, really fun and very, very exciting. I gotta say, maybe I'm a little bit biased on this one, but this comic brings gods, intelligence, humanity, reality, multiverses, comedy, science, and it bundles all of it up into 12 issues. And most of all, it makes you want to be a superhero, which is what superhero comics are all about. If you've got the chance, please get onto it, and I will see you friendly people next week. Bye.